If I say side AB, what corresponds to side AB? EF. How do we know those are corresponding? They're on the same side of the triangle. They're in the same position, right? So corresponding just means same position. So let's go ahead and write our similarity statement using our corresponding angles. So remember, to begin, we want to start with our triangles and then put our similarity symbol. And again, we know that they're similar because that information is already given to us. The triangles below are similar. So let's start with angle A. And angle A corresponds to an angle? Angle E. And we know that because they both have how many arcs? 1. And then next we've got angle B. And angle B corresponds to an angle? Angle F. And then we've got angle C. I'm sorry, not C. See, Josh? Angle D corresponds to angle G. So our similarity statement is triangle ABD is similar to triangle EFG. Questions so far? So that's for number 1. Number 2 is asking us to solve for X and Y. And because our sides are proportional, then we can write our ratios to solve for that. So let's start with, and on your assignment, notice how this one is on the right side, and it's also stated first. Whatever stated first is going to be the number in the numerator. So let's start with side AB. And side AB corresponds to what side? EF. Then we go side BD. And BD corresponds to FG. And then we have AD. Thank you, Samaya. And that corresponds to EG. So AD and EG. Hot. It was because it was super cold in here. So I turned up the heater really high and now it's like really hot. Yeah. Really? Because it was so cold? Oh, I am so sorry. All right, so let's go ahead and substitute our values for the values from our figure. We've got AB is 4 over 28. We've got BD, which is 5 over Y. And we've got 6 over X. Now remember, we are solving. So when we solve, we will be cross multiplying. So let's write that down. When we solve, we cross multiply. Cross multiply our ratios. No. So we need to decide. What are we solving for first? Do you want to solve for X first or Y first? Okay, I heard X first, sorry. So we're solving for X first, so we're going to choose the ratio that has X. Now we have 2 other ratios that we can use. Which one do we want to use? The one that has the number in the numerator and the denominator, or the one that has the variable of Y? I'm sorry? With the numbers or the one with the Y? Right, so we want to use the ratio that has the number in the numerator and the denominator, because then you won't be able to solve it. So first we're going to solve for X, and we're going to use 4 over 28 equals 6 over X. Why are we not writing this down? Yes, please write it down. Your brain processes it better when you write things down. It's like seeing it 7 times. Yes, it will. All right, so we're going to cross multiply. I'm sorry? Yes. We're going to cross multiply and divide. So you've got 6 times 28 equals 4 times x. We get 168 equals 4x. Then we divide by 4. And x is equal to 42. Now let's solve for y. So we're going to go back to our 3 ratios. Now we're going to look at the ratio with the y. And I'm going to use the same ratio that has the number in the numerator and the denominator. So we've got 4 over 28 equals 5 over y. And then again, we're going to cross multiply. 5 times 28, 40, and then divide by 4. And y is equal to 35. So we've got x is equal to 42 and y is equal to 35. Any questions so far? What did you do? Something to give you what? Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yes. Not every time, but most of the time, yes. All right, so Rena makes a good point. She said, I didn't do the ratio way, but what I did was I found that if we got 28 and we divided it by 4, we got 7. So we're really multiplying 4 times 7 to get 28. So if they're similar, then that means that we can multiply this one by 7 and this one by 7. And we get those numbers. X is 42 and y is 35. That is absolutely correct. And you can do this when they're this simple. There's times where you'll get an expression where it won't be that easy to get those numbers. So you want to be careful. So just make sure that you're just doing side over its corresponding side. Any questions on that? All right, and now for the final one, scale factor. Now let's go ahead and write down what scale factor means. Our scale factor, is a ratio of corresponding sides. What the scale factor tells us, it's how much bigger one shape is, how much bigger or smaller the shapes are of each other. So if one triangle is 2 times bigger, then my scale factor is 2. If one of the shapes is half the size, then my scale factor is 1/2. So that's what my scale factor is. We're going to determine the scale factor for these 2 triangles. Now with scale factor again, I'm sorry? Okay. With scale factor again, unless they tell us, I want to know from this triangle to this triangle, we're going to use the similarity statement or whatever's on the left to determine what goes in the top as the top number and what goes in the bottom number, or the numerator and the denominator. So for scale factor, you just need one of the ratios. It's just a ratio. So if we look at these 3, I'm going to choose this one, the 4 over 28. Notice how the triangle that I'm using for my numerator is the first one stated in my similarity statement. So I'm going to get that 4 over 28. And then I'm going to simplify. Now, if we were to simplify 4 over 28, what can we divide both the numerator and the denominator by? What are they both divisible by? 2. So let's divide each one by 2. And if we divide by 2, we get 2 over 14. Can we simplify that even further? Yeah, what can we divide each one by? 2 again, and we get 1 over 7. Can we simplify that even further? No. So my scale factor is 1 over 7, which means in this picture that if our scale factor is 1 over 7, the shape is getting smaller, right? Because 1/7 is smaller than 1. So if we're going from this triangle to this triangle, then my scale factor is 1 over 7. Now, if I'm going from the smaller shape to the larger shape, that's where we get our scale factor and we flip it, right? So instead of saying 1/7 times smaller, now it's going to be 7 times bigger, right? So if it's going from the smaller one to the larger one, then my scale factor is 7. If it's going from the larger one to the smaller one, then my scale factor is 1 over 7. Any questions on that? On your assignment, like I said, they're not going to tell you from this one to that one on the one from today, but they will give you similarity statements like this, or they'll give you pictures. Again, the picture that's on the left side will be on the top number, and in the similarity statement, the triangle on the left side will be my top number or my numerator. Any questions?